Hello everyone, I'm Yufen. Here I want to tell you, on 24th November 2019, I'm at Tufts Medical Center in Boston. In just 19 hours of treatment, their personal injury to me, human rights harm and discrimination. I was having back pain. I went to the emergency department of Tufts Medical Center, and then after they gave me 2 aspirins, I think the good ones have to leave. They said they were going to give me a nutrient solution. They left me behind. After the infusion of the nutrient solution, they injected one into my nutrient solution. White, transparent reagent. Said it was for me to sleep. But not long after that, my heart began to beat wildly. And then what? I feel like I'm going to be unable to breathe. I'm going to be suffocated. Then I told them, I said, my heart is very. And then he says, you have a heart problem and you're going to be hospitalized. Then he asked me to go through the hospitalization formalities, and I asked him what kind of examination he was doing. Well, hospitalization, he said it was to have a heart examination and CT. I said, CT, then I won't do it because it's in the same hospital in this hospital. I had a heart CT 10 days ago and everything was fine. They didn't listen, and they still went through the formalities of hospitalization for me, while asking me to put my coat, my shoes, my bag, and my jewelry necklace. Let my family take all these things away. Hey, I said I wanted to wear them. They said you don't need them. You have pathogenic gowns. So I was wearing a pathogenic gown and barefoot, and I went to the inpatient department to be hospitalized. When I arrived in the inpatient department, the nurse told me, he said, you're leaving here at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Did I say 6 o'clock that early? I can't even see a doctor. I said I wouldn't leave. He said, tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock, you must go. Then he put a needle in my lower abdomen again. And it was this nurse who put a needle in my lower abdomen, and it was this nurse who put a needle in my lower abdomen. My lower abdomen was very painful at that time. Then I felt that my anus, vagina, and my lower abdomen was sore, just burned together, hard and painful. I asked him what you did to me. He didn't say anything, and then he pushed me to the CT room. After I injected the drug in my left hand, I pushed it into the machine for inspection. Pushed me out again, injected drugs in my right hand again, pushed me in for examination again. Then he injected the drug into my left hand and pushed me in again. When I was inside that machine for the 3rd time, I feel like my whole body is going to explode. I felt very uncomfortable, and then later, I just said I felt uncomfortable. They pushed me out after the examination. When I push it out, I will check that CT from that, and I will turn over that bed. I turned underground by myself. It was very difficult because my stomach hurts too. I'm not feeling well all over. They actually have to do it a 4th time. I said, if you do it for me a 4th time, I said I would sue you. They stop. And then I'm in this hospital with everything that makes me feel so scary. Yes, it's very surprising. I'm frightened because I think this experience is something I've never had before. I'll give it to a friend. He's an Uber driver. I told you to come and get me out of here quickly. I'm going home. It's too dangerous here. It scares me. When the doctors and nurses in this hospital knew I was leaving, all the doctors and nurses filled my ward, including the nursing staff. I'm filled with people around my sick bed. I can't get out of bed. Later I said I would go out, and they told me that if you go out, you will die. I said I died outside and I wouldn't stay here. It's extremely dangerous. He asked me to write one, a document that says they have nothing to do with my death outside. I wrote and still wouldn't let me go. Then I found another translator and said that I would die outside when I went out. If I'm leaving, I'm going to sign the papers, or I'm going to sign the papers, including the psychologist, whose psychologist said I could leave. But their doctor is still blocking the door and not letting me go. Later, through their conversation, I knew that they did something bad to me. I was devastated. I rushed out of the ward. I went into the hallway. Everybody's after me, you know? I'm running. I can't escape. How lonely I was that night. Lonely and helpless. I can't escape. At last I saw there is a small gray sign on the ground with a cleaning password. Just watch when I pick it up. I didn't hurt anyone. It's against the law to hurt anyone. I'm saving myself. Is it okay if I knock myself? In the moment they were shocked, I did use this method. I ran away from that cardiac inpatient unit. I rushed downstairs. I've been running out of the street, leaving the building. It was 1 o'clock in the middle of the night, and I thought I was free. I got a breath of fresh air, but in the darkness came out 5 or 6 or 7. The hospital has both men and women. They slowly moved closer to me from the darkness and surrounded me in the middle. At this time, someone's behind me, right behind me, stumbled on my leg. I sat down immediately because I only wear pathogenic gowns. I'm barefoot, my shoes are gone. After I sat down, I had a stomachache too. And then at that moment, I felt like my butt was sore, my stomach was sore. The lower body won't listen to my arrangements, you know. I couldn't get up. Several of them forced me up and put me in a wheelchair and pushed me back to where I fled, put me alone in a disease. In the room, there were 2 policemen from their hospital standing at the door of my ward. There are 2 hospital policemen standing at my bed, keep me locked up until 3 o'clock in the morning, and then tell me, okay, you can go. Well, 2 Chinese translators, they're not good. Now it's a Vietnamese translator. Then I left. Everything went wrong after I went back. I started to send a lot of hair on my body. A lot of that rash that's all over the body. And my whole body is hot and swollen. That rash has blisters on it. It hurts and itches. In the end, I had no choice. So I took the Chinese hard copy. I just bring up the blood, you know, and then my stomach also hurts. It hurts too, and then the waist hurts too.
1.
That even the anus and vagina hurt. I simply can't help it. Later, it's been like this. It hurts. And I gritted my teeth, you know. Just carry it hard. I really have no choice. I can't get my medical records. I'm going to the new hospital. I can't get the medical records. I can't help it. Later, when I really couldn't do it, I went to a hospital in Cambridge. I opened a hospital and then I told him about my symptoms. Then he did CT. After he did CT, he asked me, he said something happened to your small intestine. I told him. He said that maybe you have a swollen problem that suspects a tumor and he needs to give you medicine. Hey then, I cried at that time, how did it become a swollen tumor? Then I went to another hospital, the same one, took the CT. The doctor said, oh, you have a liver problem. I said, I have a stomach ache. I don't have a pain in the liver. I have a stomach ache. Still didn't give me any pain tablets. The hospital in Kenpuji didn't give me pain tablets either. And then what? I went to another hospital. The hospital said there was something wrong with your uterus. There were no pain relievers either, so they asked me to go to CVS to buy a fetal Leland. In just over a year, I bought all the tire codes and CVs and ate them all. He's still in pain. Later, I really couldn't help it. My waist also hurt, and I couldn't lift my left leg. Then I got to that other week. I'll check why my waist hurts. Finally, I realized that I had fallen that night. I had a compression fracture of my first caudal vertebra. Second, third, fourth, and fifth subluxations. Because there was no timely treatment at that time, I don't know. So it becomes permanent. That is, it's a stubborn disease and it often hurts. Later, I went to another country and I took this CT from the United States. When I went to another country, the doctor looked at my CT. Your intestines are fine, your liver is fine, your uterus is fine. Your pain is because you have a hole in your small peritoneum, so he's going to hurt.
You see?
Such a simple question. All the doctors in Massachusetts, they're silent. They didn't even prescribe me any medicine. Then they asked me to go to CVS to buy tires. I was extremely angry at the time. When I came back, I went to a lawyer to sue them, but I couldn't get the medical records. Later, I spent money through a lawyer and waited for nearly 3 months to give me the medical records. After I got the medical record, I looked at it. All the doctors and nurses that night were interns. Second, they changed the case. What's changed? Why did you put that needle in my stomach? It's because of my blood clot. 986, so put a needle in the stomach. And the blood clots I checked in another country, 291. Then back to the United States, I checked less than 301 blood clots. Very standard, non-regular standards. But what about this thrombus of 986? His medical number is different from mine. They tried to cover up their improper treatment of me. They put the other one. The thrombosis of the medical number is high and put it in my normal. How abominable they are. Later, I refused to accept it. I appealed, I sued. I went to the intermediate court where I live. I asked the lawyer to sue, and the attorney of the intermediate court dismissed for me. The time he rejected was July 27, 2022. Dismiss it. The only reason for dismissal is that I didn't give the court the bond of $6,000. But on July 20th, 2022, the week before his dismissal, my lawyer paid this bound. And he also gave him a letter, a paper. Tell him we handed it in. The judge didn't even look at it, so he dismissed it for me. I didn't accept it. I found another lawyer to appeal to the Court of Appeal. On June 6th, the Court of Appeal, their assistant clerk in the court and the lawyer in the hospital. In addition, I found 2 or 3 people to hold a meeting. Dismissed for me again. The reason for dismissal was to uphold the intermediate court's decision. The intermediate courts are all wrong. Why don't you take a look at my lawyer's appeal documents? You uphold that wrong judgment. How unfair this is to me. This hurts me again. Today, I'm telling you the truth, and I hope to win the support of the broad masses of people. You give me strength. God help me. Save me, we.